Hello, everybody, and welcome here to, well, the Considery of the Ramble. This is specifically regards to reviewing what was WWE TLC, an event that I would say was good and interesting. Here, I'll actually hopefully have a guest here, maybe have some other guests. Or, yeah, but either way, it will be fun. And either way, I do say so myself that WWE TLC was good. Now, for those that don't know, or probably already know, I don't know, but I do have my pay-per-view Insta poll, my 24-hour poll for anybody that wants to go to the Ramble underscore WWE, or you can even go to Army underscore Strong underscore 06, where it is retweeted of from my wrestling podcast Twitter handle, the Ramble underscore WWE, of my pay per view Insta poll, where I simply asked, what do you think of TLC event? And the four options, as per usual, were: do you think it was great? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was okay? Or do you think it was terrible? And I myself, I would probably it was good. I'd probably would say this event was good, and I enjoyed being part of the Thunderdome. For those that watch TLC or plan to rewatch it, or if you're a YouTuber and you're rewatching it to prepare for your own podcast this week for in-depth analysis or whatnot, um, I don't know. I would say check out and watch commentary crew are talking after the Universal title match, and Reigns wins and stuff and retains, blah blah blah. And they're talking, and I didn't even notice because I'm like kind of half asleep, not because I'm bored, but because I had a long day. A fun day though. Football Sunday. Football Sunday. It's always a fun day. This Super Bowl 31 logo. Packers. But yeah. Anyways, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, all right. So, and then I woke up. That's when I was like this. I waved. I waved to the camera, but I made sure to look here and not here. Not where I was, where I'm looking sometimes. I gotta make sure I'm watching the show, or right at my camera right there. But anyways, um, did enjoy being part of Thunderdome, but that's the one time I was actually on camera, and I enjoyed doing it. I've done it almost every Monday Night Raw. I think there's one or two Monday Night Raws I have missed, being part of the Thunderdome, and I've been part of like 70% of the SmackDowns. But tonight was the very first time for me to be part of a pay per view event, especially for someone like me that's never been to a WWE event of any type in person. To be like a regular to the Thunderdome, um, works for me. Just like my virtual Christmas party. I get to stay home that I had this past over this weekend for my family. Christmas party was virtual, so so doing that in the Thunderdome, I kind of equate it equally because I get to stay at home lounging and wearing whatever. Um, but I would say that the Thunderdome experience is fun, interesting at times, sometimes overproduced, but still I do enjoy. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it each and every week for Monday Night Raw. But in fact, I already have registered for Raw and for the taping of SmackDown. So being part of those for next week. But anyway, though, I see my guest is here, so I will add him here to the stream if it'll work here.
Yo. Oh yeah, and you ain't had to wait on me, man. This is your show. I'm just here as a guest.
I know, but I don't want to just throw you on without any warning.
Well, you know how it goes, man. I'm pretty okay with the what's what they call it, the flexibility, so to speak. So impromptu isn't my issue. So what's been
It's
going
your
on, man? We have not done this in a long, awfully long time.
Yeah, it feels
between
like 10 years, let alone however long it's been.
jobs and me doing other stuff, other projects and stuff. And of course, I was just actually I just hopped off my other stream to make sure I came in because one day if I give you my word on something, I'm going to honor it. So
Yeah.
can you hear me pretty good? My microphone coming in all right with you?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right, cool. Just making sure. Just making sure that I'm loud and clear. I'm looking at you on one screen. I got my game on the other, and I got my camera right here. So just making sure.
I'm, I would assume you have a pretty sweet setup. I'm sure you have a pretty sweet setup for your streaming.
Oh yeah, it took me a while to get to this point, man. I'm very thankful that I had some resources, some financial resources come my way, so I was able to get the camera right here and able to get the boom mic and get a desk, get a nice little desk and get a ring light and a game capture card, all the things necessary. Now if I feel like actually paying for Streamlabs every month, and then maybe I'll pay for that. But at the moment, I'm just giving it just a test run, seeing if it's better than what I was doing with OBS and Twitch. So yeah, just not talk about myself. This is your stream. I'm sitting here. I apologize. I'm supposed to be Mike.
No,
I'm supposed to be
that's
Mike.
fine. Hey, good for the viewers to know as well, and for myself, like I said, for us, we haven't communicated or interacted for a long time, so it's even good for me.
Yeah,
In that
yeah,
regard, and seeing how you're doing, it seems like you're doing well. Like for me, for broadcasting or podcasting, like I could, improve on tech stuff, but the finances aren't there to be able to do so, and things that I may need or want or whatever,
that's
to
all
be able
right.
to do that. So I still just use what I have and move forward from there. But as for TLC, what were, I guess, overall your thoughts or impressions on the event that we saw last or tonight?
I've been so used to WWE just giving me basic type stuff. And anybody that wants to get on me, I don't care. You already know me. I don't care what my wrestling opinion is. My wrestling opinion. There were things in the show. I did not get the chance to see the Drew McIntyre match, but I did hear what happened, and I kind of followed up on some of the highlights. So from that aspect, I figured that the Drew McIntyre match was going to be a good match. One, because you got AJ Styles in it, so from a wrestling storytelling standpoint, those two were going to put on the barn burner. And then Miz inserted himself in it was just okay. So we get rid of the Money in the Bank contract. It's no longer hanging over our heads, and we don't have to worry about the Miz, who is the way he's been booked recently. He's not nowhere near as legitimate as he was when he was doing his Intercontinental Championship runs in SmackDown. So his level of threat for Drew McIntyre was very very low, even if he was to cash in his Money in the Bank. The women's match was very good. Sasha Banks is Sasha Banks. She tells a great story in the ring. Carmella surprisingly was able to keep up, so she's gotten better, obviously. And the story that they've been telling was good. The shenanigans were cool. Sasha Banks coming up on top, so I like that. Highlight of the night for me was the two stories being told at the end. Now, I don't know how your setup is when it comes to how you do your shows because we haven't done this in a long time. Are you going to go match by match and you're going to break it down or you want just an overall feel?
We go overall here now.
Overall feel? Okay. So, the overall for the show, there's a couple of friends of mine that I also do wrestling talks with from time to time. We like to give what they call belt grades. So if I was to give this a belt grade, it will be a 4 out of 5, and it will be a 4 out of 5. I will give it Miz SmackDown. Watch this now. Watch how I frame this. The Miz SmackDown talking smack promo Intercontinental Championship run. So that time when he did that talking smack promo
Hmm.
that set everything off for that Intercontinental Championship run for the Miz. It was very solid. It was a very solid pay per view. It had very very good moments, very powerful moments that made me remember what this show should have been about. One of the ones I did see, but there were still some things that were forgettable. I mean, no offense to Charlotte Flair, one of my people, one of my guys who I really trust his wrestling acumen on. He calls Charlotte Flair the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Period. It's not even an argument for him, and he's seen a lot of wrestling. Her coming back was very underwhelming for me. It was very, very underwhelming. Not because Charlotte
Well,
isn't good, because Charlotte as a wrestler is freaking fantastic. Charlotte as a heel is even greater. But it's just like, it was like, oh, okay, Charlotte's back. you know, if it,
I
excuse
wonder.
me, it was weird. I don't know why.
I was wondering maybe for you or for other people that maybe they would say for them or yourself, I don't know, that they would say it was underwhelming because it was predictable.
Yeah, it was predictable, and as I've been watching certain wrestling shows and getting some certain feedback and things like that, getting that I'm becoming that jaded wrestling fan that nothing impresses me anymore. Now I don't even want to be surprised, but excuse me, but yeah, I mean, the whole point. I thought it would have been awesome for the story if Lana was able to kind of make her way back, right, and force her way back. I mean, they wanted to book her in this underdog babyface role. It would have been very, very cool to have her somehow do a power spot where she musters up baby, that baby, the baby face fire,
Hmm.
lifts up Nia Jax, which is not going to be an easy feat for any woman, even Charlotte, who's one of the strongest on the roster to do. Lift up Nia Jax and put her to a goddamn table, giving them just desserts and winning the Raw, the women's tag team championships, which they don't care about. So that's the whole thing. If it was anyone else, I probably be like, oh, that's cool. But it's mainly because not they put Charlotte in a place where I don't need to care about her because they don't care about those women tag team titles. So the match itself was more angled than it was an actual wrestling match. They did what they could. They did what they did though. I mean, far be it for me to make it seem like that when it comes to in comparison to other wrestling promotions that the WWE women don't have stories and don't have coherent matches and things like that. But it was just Charlotte. It was Charlotte. Hey, you're back. You won another championship. Charlotte wins. LOL. Hey, you know.
Yeah, she comes back. First match, she's put in a title match as the surprise person, and then wins the title.
Hmm.
You have Carmella that came off injury or whatever that she was coming back, has a whole new gimmick, put in a title match with Sasha Banks for Sasha Banks to face someone competitive, but loses. Now I get it because you're facing Sasha Banks, but still you have Carmella, a superstar, coming back too, and you book her, and you put her in a title match, whether she's booked to win or not, whatever, you have her there. So my point is, you have Carmella in the same situation with the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Charlotte Flair coming back with the women's tag team situation and match, being put in a
Hmm.
title match,
Hmm.
and well, the obvious being the obvious is Charlotte gets the win and gets the title, and Carmella loses and kind of doesn't look like trash, which is unfortunate of how
Yeah,
that.
the women's match, the Sasha Banks match, like I said, good match, solid match. Sasha Banks is incredible in the ring as usual. But like I
I
said,
figured.
I have to agree with you. I mean, I actually thought that just for story purposes, because the character that they've been kind of showing about Sasha Banks, and the thing they kept on kind of harping on was that she can win titles, but she doesn't hold on to them for long.
Mm-hmm.
And and if she goes against an opponent who can really test her mettle, then then she tends to lose once she gets to the top. So she'll get to the top multiple times, but she just won't stay on top for long. And that's why, you know, I thought that Carmella would have may have won just to set up some kind of angle specifically for, you know, just where Sasha Banks is just chasing that title back again, and Carmella with her sommelier are doing all kinds of shenanigans to keep the title away from Sasha. All the while they keep that shenanigans going, they do other things to kind of build some programs with other baby faces and other wrestlers. Where Carmella beats Natalia, which that doesn't hurt Natalia because no one cares about her anymore. She embarrasses Billy Kay, which with her being a comedy character, that would be very much like bullying. Like, why would you beat up on her like that? She goes through the Riot Squad and give her this strength and this level of seriousness that then when Sasha finally triumphs over her, shenanigans and all, it's another feel good moment. And but what am I thinking? Trying to do long term storytelling for WWE, they only do that for people that they actually really love, like Roman Reigns, like Drew McIntyre, when they almost blew that one because they took the belt off of him at Hell in a Cell for no real reason whatsoever. So you know, it is what it is, man. But the women's division gets the short end of the stick. Um, and really, it just really, and Charlotte being back is also underwhelming because we could get Charlotte being a champion of all three brands. She could be the champion of all three brands, and she would just be just this conquering goddess that cannot be stopped. I mean, it's possible. She did that to the people, to the women in NXT, and that's the deepest women's roster they got. So, gosh, she could have been so good for NXT if she didn't just bury everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I got on a tangent, but that's how I felt about the woman.
Hmm.
That's how I felt about the woman. Um, but for you, as you've been seeing, what was your best? Now, I do have some my opinion about the last match, and there's going to be a lot of people who I noticed there was a lot of people who didn't like the match, but I'm thinking something else along the point. But I don't want to take away from. I'm your guest. I am not the host. So I
Right.
apologize. I
And
can rant. I apologize.
hey, no, you know me. This is called the ramble anyway. I can ramble too. But no, in regards to what I was going to bring up, for me, the next thing I was going to bring up in regards to the actual match of the night, and for me, the match of the night, hands down, goes to the Raw Tag Team Title match of the New Day versus the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, the Hurt Business finally getting the win, getting those tag team titles I predicted. Um, and just the match of storytelling, as you put it, I think was just done very well. And I think, and with some spots and the finish and everything, I think for me sealed the deal in regards to all the other matches. That one for me is the best and is deserving to be the match of the night. I
Mm-hmm.
guess if we're going to kind of talk about the main event, which is fine. For me, you know how I feel. I know we haven't talked in a while, but you might remember of my let's say two opinions that are that I would always like tweet reply when people ask what is your non popular opinion or unpopular opinion or whatever the phrasing is.
Mm-hmm.
One, Sasha Banks is a little bit overrated, and Bray Wyatt I just haven't
Ooh.
liked from the start. So so
Ooh.
with those two, Sasha Banks, okay, she retaining against Carmella, and you know how
But
I talked about with
but
Carmella, she
oh
comes
my
back in a
gosh.
title match and she loses to Sasha Banks, the person that can barely hold on to a title, and
But
then we have Bray Wyatt.
oh gosh, SK. But Sasha Banks was in The Mandalorian. Like she was in 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. She was in the season 2 of The Mandalorian. Like, how can you overrate it? It's because she's Snoop Dogg's cousin and you don't like Snoop. Is that you don't like raps?
It
Is
had
that what it
nothing to
is?
do with Snoop or rap music. I'm telling
No, but
you.
I can understand. I don't agree, but I can understand why you may say they overrated. Now Bray from the start. Now you said from the start before he got totally buried as the Bray Wyatt swamp
From
cult
the
leader
start, when he
character.
started the Bray Wyatt character, after he was doing the crap as well as well, I mean, already forget, but whatever that crap he was with the Nexus. But when he actually started Bray
Okay,
Wyatt
so
and he had his family,
when he was real Bray Wyatt, he had Luke Harper. Like when he first really started gaining traction with the Bray Wyatt character, you never liked and connected with that character,
correct.
and you hold on to that now, even with the iteration of Mister Rogers, Bray Wyatt, and the Fiend.
Yeah, because I think they're just doing the same thing again because he's cutting all these promos. And here in this match, this is supposed to be his match. This is the Firefly Funhouse Inferno match, and he loses.
Well, there's something to that I'll talk about a little later. But like I said, this is your show, so I want you to be able to guide your guests as you would, sir. I am at your behest, so to speak. No, they're serious because I think that was you when you say that he loses, right? And there's a lot of people who could be like, why would you lose a match that you made to stipulation to? Well, really, Randy Orton made a stipulation when he set him on fire in the box.
Right.
So at Randy Orton, and watch this now, long term. One of the most protected long term storytelling characters now, outside of what they've been doing with Roman, outside of the little bit they've been doing with Drew, has been the Fiend's character. I don't know how, but somehow Bray Wyatt, Mr. Rotunda, was able to get his input in so well about this character that he has been, with the exception of the Goldberg match, which wasn't his fault, with the exception of that stupid Goldberg match in Saudi Arabia, the Fiend has been one of the most protected characters overall in WWE. And oh, excuse me, the two Saudi Arabia matches. It was the Goldberg and the Seth Rollins red light district Hell in a Cell match where he got disqualified for being too Hell in a Cellish, whatever. Okay. Um, but the story of the Fiend is one of a serial killer, one of a horror movie, one that is typically of indicative of this character. Based on what I've been learning about how this character is iterated, Bray Wyatt is a horror movie savant. Think about this. How many horror movies have you seen where the maniacal killer, the Michael Myers, the Jason, the Freddy, something happened to them where the people who were the good guys in the movie thought that they killed them off. Like they thought they
Right.
killed him off. Okay,
Mhm.
so Randy Orton first set the Fiend on fire. The Fiend gets pissed off and chases after him because that don't stop him. But it was just enough to kind of get him wore down to knock him out with an RKO. Because normally an RKO on its own, without that extra added weakness of the fire, would mess with the Fiend. It's the Fiend. So what the Fiend did, think about it like this: the Fiend faked his death. And a lot of people are not going to be on this aspect. But in a horror movie scenario, you set the bad guy on fire, you think that's it. But remember, the Fiend ain't just a maniacal Max version of Bray Wyatt. He's also, because this is where they've been doing it, he's also kind of magic. So because he's kind of magic, now you set the body and the corpse on fire. You think you did to him what you did to his sister Abigail back in the day. Uh-uh. You learn. He's different. He's more powerful. Fire doesn't hurt him. Fire empowers him. So this feud, Randy didn't win it. Randy is under the impression that he won it. And whether they do it tomorrow or whether they do it next Monday, they're going to either keep the Fiend off for a little bit and then bring him back for some, or bring him back because to keep him special, or the Fiend's going to pop up like nothing ever happened and totally like, no, this feud's not over, and then they'll go into the Royal Rumble, um, go into the Royal Rumble with whatever kind of finish to it in mind, because I don't want this to go to WrestleMania. I don't think it needs to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree there.
The thing with Randy Orton and the Fiend, not because they'll put on a boring match, but like to take Randy Orton to task the same way you did John Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania, cinematically, I don't think it's going to ring to the same level as a John Cena one would. And the reason why is because when it comes to how the Firefly Funhouse match set up with John Cena, it was all the things that everyone outside of WWE at the WWE bubble thought about John Cena and how he was portrayed and how he was booked and how it was delivered. I mean, we can kind of do some of that stuff with Randy Orton, but it's kind of been driven into the ground already because of Drew McIntyre's feud with him, because of Edge's feud with him. So to rehash that with the Fiend will be a waste of time. I don't need a cinematic match telling me about all the stuff that Randy Orton got through, all the drug violations that he's been through, the fact that he's third generation, he got a silver spoon in his mouth. You could do that at Royal Rumble and call it a day, and then finish the guy off. And then who the Fiend goes after that, who knows? But he shouldn't be the title. The Fiend doesn't need a title. The Fiend does not need a WWE title. He doesn't need the Universal Championship. He doesn't need any championship. He's the Fiend. It's one of those characters that stands above championships. If you get what I'm saying, I know you don't like him, but
Yeah,
the
no, I
way,
know what
the
you're
way
saying because the
yeah,
Fiend
but
is
the way they
like
made
the
the
next
Fiend,
generation's Undertaker. You know.
yeah, and he shouldn't be limited. The way they booked the Fiend, he shouldn't be limited to the one of a championship, unless you plan on protecting him for over a year, unless you're protecting him and he doesn't lose for a year until someone at the next WrestleMania truly does find the actual weakness, the actual thing that they can exploit for this Fiend to get him weak one time to win back the championship from him. But and then the Fiend can go away for a few months and Bray Wyatt and then Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt can take over for a little bit, thinking that the Fiend has disappeared, lost his power, and then he can come back. But that's just me. I'm rambling again. I
Yeah,
apologize.
no, I get that. I get that. And if I was going to book it, I probably then would have him probably come back in the first Raw of 2021. I think that's when I would have him come back.
Hmm.
If they want to at least hold it up a little bit longer, like create that illusion in regards to booking and storytelling of Randy thinking he won the war. Not just a battle. And then out of nowhere, the Fiend shows up on that Raw at the first of the new year and
Yeah,
that moment. So
and they can keep it like that too because Bray Wyatt is essentially two different characters. He's Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. So by setting the Fiend on fire, who's left? Just regular Bray Wyatt. And Bray can play up that, oh, you think that you killed the Fiend. Oh, no. You ain't do it. You ain't end it. Whatever. And then they can kind of continue their back and forth and it won't be as stale until the Fiend, like you said, the Fiend comes back in January to set up that Rumble match. That
yeah,
Rumble rematch.
and the next thing I want to talk about, again, since we haven't talked in a while, and since you are a streamer now, I want to get your thoughts on, for me to hear your thoughts on the news that came out a while ago in regards to WWE and their talent no longer being able to be on services like Twitch, Cameo, and otherwise. And if so, they can get in trouble up to and including termination.
Yeah,
That's
Zelina Vega, we saw that. Yeah, we saw it with
Kevin
Zelina Vega.
Zelina. But what were your thoughts then or now after the Zelina situation with Vince McMahon's decision on all of that and why I get it why he decided to make the decision. I see it in the business side of it and the businessman that he is. But I want to get your thoughts on it all or that you wish to share.
Well, my whole thing, and people, were sitting here trying to um be all extra moralistic about it. It was like it's not right, it's not fair, and all I was like, that could be the case, but we have to remember that depending on what your job is, right? There's certain things that can cost you your job. For example, with me being a gamer and a stream gamer, me doing my gaming streams, right? I could come across and say something that rubs some people the wrong way. If it's truly offensive, I could lose my job and my access to employment. Is that fair? Am I a fan of cancel culture? I am not a fan of cancel culture, and I don't think that people shouldn't be losing their jobs over a difference of opinion. Now, of course, someone goes off and say something like extremely racist or something like that, then your boss want to keep you. Your boss want to keep you, but you lose your platform and privileges when you start going off the rail into um, truly crappy things, and that's up to your employer. But you're still free to say what you want to say. Just remember that what you want to say may come with consequences that you may or may not want. Um, but my only question was not the morality of WWE taking over their talents, third party streaming accounts. It was, did they have the legal recourse to do so? Was it in the contracts that the WWE owns every aspect of their talent? Because AJ Styles was AJ Styles long before he came to WWE. There's no way that WWE can own AJ Styles. They can't even own the phenomenal one because I bet you that AJ already took care of all that on his end. Same thing with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is one of those people that kept their names. Like, you're not going to change my name. My name is this. There's certain people that been around the business long enough to where they kept the cachet. Now, there was no point of Drew McIntyre to change his name to Drew Galloway. He was Drew Galloway on the independent scene, but he already did his stint in WWE. Coming back to WWE, keeping Drew McIntyre is perfectly fine. Um, but then you have people like Selena Vega, like Adam Cole, like those folks who stream, you know, and depending on how you rank in the company. Now, here's what a lot of people don't understand: any company is like this when it comes to their employees. There's some employees that get certain benefits and certain perks that other employees just don't. You don't find it fair, then go into business for yourself and create your own perks. People is like, oh, so Xavier Woods can be a host on G4. Oh, Xavier Woods can continue his up, down, down. Yeah, they even made a championship title in regards to up, down, down. Sorry, New Day is one of the most over daggone groups they ever had in WWE history. The New Day is I would say, the group variation of John Cena. They make way too much money in merchandise, in sales, in eyeballs to rattle that cage on someone who can leave you and be very successful without you. That's a business decision. Why would you rattle the New Day's cage? You wouldn't rattle Dr. Austin Creed's cage. Why would you do that? He'll just leave. He'll just
You
say,
won't
no, I
think
want my
twice.
release. Yeah, don't even think, like, he wouldn't even think twice. Up, down, down, successful despite of WWE may try to be interference, and WWE and up, down, down, and his G4 stuff is successful because of who he is and because of the work that he put in. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm asking. All I was wondering was, well, how can they legally do that in their contracts if the people haven't re-upped on their contracts? Wouldn't the old language then dictate? So that was my only question about it. It kind of sucks for them. It does suck for them, especially those people who depend on that extra income from their third party platforms, especially Cameo. There's people charging like Undertaker. They was charging $1,000 for the Undertaker to say in his Undertaker voice, "Happy birthday to you and yours, and may you always rest in peace." I'm like, this is really cheesy and cheap to your character. But I mean, hey, make your money. But he wasn't
I mean,
seeing much of it.
well, then again, I get it with the Undertaker in regards to now, him being out of character more,
Mm-hmm.
him being just Mark, and
It's
doing all
great.
that.
It
You've
fits
done
real.
30 plus years of your life. You gave to the business. You in character. You stayed loyal to WWE through the WCW times and all that, so that now you can do any cheesy crap and nobody better question it.
Yeah, that's true. He can do he literally can do whatever he can do whatever he wants to, man. He's earned that right. Um
Whether fan or
yeah.
Vince.
Yeah, fan of Vince. But my last point I'll make on this whole third party platform thing is this.
Yep.
The thing that got me the most disappointed about it was how folks really believe that some politicians and Screen Actors Guild and all these people and entities care about our sport entertainment of wrestling. They don't care about our sports entertainment of wrestling. they don't they don't care about that. That's the least. That's the bottom of the totem pole of the political football to get on Vince McMahon to get on Vince McMahon and the wrestling industry. That is a nothing but a stunt and it's nothing but a political decoy. So all the people that swear up and down that Andrew Yang is going to come in and Yang Gang is going to come in and do something about it, they're not. They really don't care.
Yeah, they're talking
So
about that and talking
yeah,
about
so
create this. Selena was like touting it and all that, but
if they want to actually create an actual wrestlers workers union, if they want to create an actual real wrestlers workers union, then they will literally have to convince the upper echelon of WWE talent to sit on there to sit back and stop working. And let's be honest, the upper echelon of WWE talent are not going to sit back and stop working. They're just not. they're just not. So you take the upper echelon of WWE talent, you can't depend on them. It will have to be all the mid to lower card wrestlers to where WWE's now down to a 10-person roster of dedicated members in order for your union idea to even work. And even then, I mean, but hey, you say you're independent contractors, right? Here's the thing that could keep you lost in the sauce. If you are independent contractor, because I am an independent contractor, but I signed an exclusive deal with a company. And in the exclusive deal, the terms of the contractual agreement is I cannot use certain things and certain products and services or do certain products and services for 2 years after I am done with the company. It's a 2-year non-compete clause.
hmm.
If you sign these things in your contracts and you are an independent contractor, that doesn't take away your independent contractual status. What you have done is signed away your rights and privileges as an independent contractor to a company exclusively for a duration. That's it. That's why they make exclusive deals. If you were an independent contractor with WWE and you said, well, hey, here's the terms of my contract, I should be able to go, I want to be able to go and work on any WWE brand that I want to work on, and I have full creative control with it, and WWE agrees to those terms, then I will see a Ricochet on SmackDown, on Raw, on NXT UK, on NXT India, and NXT Japan when it comes out. Like, he will be able to do that. If he negotiates in his contract and say, I am owed 3 months on for WWE programming. 3 months for any alternate program that I want to feature myself on, and then 6 months WWE. So it'll be 9 months of the year WWE, 3 months of the year non WWE, and it has to, and all the 3 months have to be consecutive. If the WWE agrees to those terms, guess what? Then you set up yourself to be able to go to other promotions for at least 3 months out the year. But WWE has to agree to those terms. If they don't, so yeah, that was my only thing about it. It wasn't that a moral thing about it. It's like you signed a contract, so I mean, this happens in this happens in the NBA. You can't be a free agent if you sign a NBA football. You can't be a free agent if you're not free. So I mean,
That's true. And
maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not thinking right. Maybe I'm not being considerate of the wrestlers and their families, things like that. But my mind always goes back to if you signed a contract, if it's in the terms of that contract,
and those wrestlers and those people, especially those are seasoned, know what
yeah,
contracts are about, or they have people to do so.
they
So it's
should
not
have
like
people
they
to
don't
do
know what
so.
they don't know. It's not like they don't know what's in their contract.
Well,
So
the better wrestlers know. The better wrestlers know. I don't know. I'm not saying Zelina Vega is ill informed or anything, but I don't know what certain wrestlers in certain levels if they had the same contract savvy as an AJ Styles, as a
no, right, right.
Samoa Joe, as an Adam Cole, who's been dealing as top guys and ladies in other companies,
Hmm.
and other companies prior to coming to WWE, or dealing with the WWE. So I don't know how their contracts came about, but you can tell you can tell they're being rewarded well with how they are in activity. I mean, crying out loud, Miz got a great contract. I mean, Miz got a lot of great stuff out of his contract. He gets TV shows, movie deals. I mean, somehow he got Maurice. I don't even know that was part of his contract, but he's winning. He's
That works.
winning it. He's winning in life. He's winning in life. Horrible storytelling recently, but he's definitely winning in life right now.
Now, this next topic here before we actually get back to TLC. This one actually doesn't have to. Well, I guess it can, depending on how you want to steer your answer. But um, being a non-wrestling topic, and it's basically 2020, the COVID era, the COVID year, um, and life and things that are different. Had the election as well in
Oh God,
November.
yeah, that
That
was interesting.
that was something. And technically, we don't know. It won't die until the inauguration. But either way, with all that, with how things have changed, or maybe things have changed for you personally, like how are your thoughts on the COVID? Your thoughts on the changes of the world, changes of in your personal life. Like for me, like I would say that COVID has at least opened my eyes into like many different like avenues of ways I can do things that were always there for me to do, but I didn't know because I didn't have to use them.
Hmm, hmm,
Like for me, I do therapy and I still do that, but now I've done it for a while, for 4 to 6 months, maybe more. Telehealth, so little things like that, and other things where able to do things technological based. As I was saying, as you were just coming onto the show, virtual Christmas parties and virtual calls and all these other virtual things,
hmm.
that have always been there. There's always been an option to use. They've always existed. Maybe not always, but for a long time with technology um, and the technological advances we have in this world, little in the United States of America. But due to COVID and due to situations to businesses, they have had to use these resources because they didn't have other resources left to use.
Facts.
So with that, now though, when it comes quote unquote back to normal, that they still can use those resources sparingly when they want to or have to. People can't make a meeting for a local meeting or whatever. They can
Hmm.
join virtually. They
Yep.
don't have to make it to drive there or miss it. They,
There's
or
no
they
more
can do it.
snow days. There's no more snow days for students.
That's what I was just gonna bring up. Snow days. You
They
can
ain't got no
now
snow
have the
days.
option for schools to do virtual, and you're only doing it for 1 or 2 days. So it's not like you did it for a whole school year. I think you can do it for 2 days.
Yeah,
So so
kids gonna want their snow days back though. Because teachers too.
I would too. I know a couple of teachers. They definitely would too.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's just of that. Like for me, Just like I just opening my eyes for myself and for businesses, and in regards to my work situation too, and other things. Like in the beginning of COVID, I lost my other job because of it, but also through it, got a new job and keeping that one here heading into 2021,
Nice.
um, and hopefully making 2021 the year of Steve. But beyond that, just I guess just get your thoughts, like how it's affected you. Maybe it hasn't affected you in regards to that way. I've been lucky in regards to hasn't affected my family in regards to positive testing.
Mm-hmm.
I did have to take it once, but I only had to take it, and I got a 48-hour return. I took it in the morning one day, 8 a.m. appointment, and I got a no call by the 2 o'clock deadline, 48 hours later,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it had to be in 48 hours because I was getting some dental surgery.
Yeah.
Um, so they had to get it and blah blah blah. So I'll let you speak. Like, what are your thoughts, or however that in regards to COVID, your reaction to it, how you think people are handling it. There's both sides of people that you better wear your friggin' mask, or I don't care, I'll do what I want because I can beat it because I'm young. I think it's interesting the extremes. I'm empathetic. I'm an empathetic person to my
Mm-hmm.
core.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever I'm going, whether it's a short trip or a long trip or whatever, I'm always masking up, and I always have my mask. I have 3 masks in my car right now that I
Mm-hmm.
have with me. That whatever one I want to wear, and I wear to go to work or go shopping or do whatever. Um, Now I don't wear them while I'm driving, but when I get to the locations,
Yeah, I never understand those
um,
people that be wearing them in their car. Like you're in your car. Like, come on. You're
I
in
mean,
your
I get it,
car.
but I don't go to extremes in that regard. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
always sanitizing, especially in the beginning. When I came home from grocery shopping, because I do live with my mom, and um, we wiped down everything, all the items, put the bags in separate areas,
Mm-hmm.
wash my clothes each time. Like we were, on that end, and still somewhat are, but it's lessened. So I'm just sharing on my end of the examples and how things
Yeah.
have changed or how things are. But for you, um, have things changed? How have you been affected? How is 2020, or is life basically normal for you, good sir?
Well, I mean, I take things that happen as they are, and I try to pay attention to the data, and I try to pay attention to all information. I think one of the major things that got lost in this whole COVID thing is that if the information that's available doesn't line up with what you feel is the right story, then you ignore the information. And this has been happening with factual information. Um, so as people been denying factual information, and I'm talking about people who are advocates of masks and people who are not advocates for masks, we're going to talk about separating from, if you want to talk about separating from a simple action like that, you know, I've been not disappointed and not surprised because when the narrative is more important than the facts, which at times it is. When the narrative is more important than the story, excuse me, when the narrative is more important than the actual factual information, the narrative will always win out. Like they say, a lie can spread faster than the truth. So, and like you, at first, there was a lot of stuff I want, a lot of caution I wanted to take. I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything in my power to make sure that I protect myself and my family. As more and more information came out, like legitimate information, and not just like, well, we think that COVID causes cancer. Like nothing, there's nothing silly and stupid that people were just speculating now. When they actually have real data about the real causes, real symptoms, things like that, I got more and more comfortable with like, oh, that's it. Not that it's not serious, because people you say, oh, that's it. It's like, oh, you don't think it's serious? Like, no, it's serious, but you have to understand that I'm a grown goddamn man, and so is a bunch of other people. They're grown men and grown women, legal age, tended adults. And if they want to go about their lives like regular, then they should be allowed to do so. And they can take whatever risk they want to take. For example, um, my brother told me this was always kind of funny. There were people during the AIDS epidemic that were still having unprotected sex. Now, was that smart? That was not smart. I think those people were really stupid for having unprotected sex during an AIDS epidemic. And some people decided they wanted to take the risk. Most of those people died because they were very stupid. I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to sit here and take an unnecessary risk over my life, over the life of my family. But I'm not going to stop you from being dumb. Go ahead. That's just how I am. That's how I've grown. That's how I've grown to people. And if you think that you're a better person than me because you wear a mask, like there are people who think this way. You think you're a better person than me because you choose to wear a mask in your car while you're driving by yourself. Congratulations. Um, I don't think I'm a better person than you because there are certain situations in which I think a mask is unnecessary and uncalled for, like driving in your car by yourself.
Yeah,
uh, if
or
you're in the
even with
same
people.
or with people, if you're in the same household as people consistently, I think you're fine. Because what I've been noticing about the nature of this particular thing is that um, people can get it, and everyone in almost every kind of situation has gotten it. So there are people who have no mask. I'm talking about like no mask, riding around in filth, sitting homeless, all kind, whatever kind of the worst possible condition you can be in that doesn't involve you being in the hospital already. That person has gotten COVID. The person who's in full hazmat suit got COVID. So if it's if it's so contagious that it's getting people who are in
Yeah, it
the
doesn't.
worst possible situation and the people who are in the best possible protection situation, what is it that we really can do other than take the best precautions that we can to protect ourselves and the people that we care about, especially those most vulnerable, which are the elderly and those people who are having pre-existing bad health conditions, especially ones that affect respiratory. But
Right, and that's
every time someone says that, they be like, "Oh, well, you want to kill my grandma?" Doing like no, like listen to yourself. Just because people my age and Steve age pass away doesn't mean that's the rule. We are exceptions. We will be outliers. The
mhm.
rule is old folks, pre-existing condition. Don't believe me? Ask a New York governor who wrote a book about how great he handled COVID. What was the why his numbers spiked so quickly in comparison to other people? It's because he sent sick old people to nursing homes. And that's how you got 33,000 out of nowhere quicker than anybody else in the daggone world in
and
one
that's
setting.
another reason why I kept in regards to myself and both my mom, but in regards to keep doing and being as strict as it was because my mom she had in regards to asthma, so
See, that's important.
one of the pre-existing. So um yeah, so it's one of those. I'm always careful wherever I'm going, and whatever regards to wiping things down. Um, but it depends on the day too. Like sometimes I go overboard and then wipe everything in regards to like carts and trays and things that I'm using at places or grocery stores. To days when I don't do that, but I still do the other things. So it's like it's a varying. But I still main thing,
Yeah.
I wear the mask.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. And
and
so you do exactly what you have to do for your specific situation. I think folks mistake that. They think that the same answer applies to everyone for this and it doesn't.
yeah,
Because
it's all
if you
individual situation and personality.
because heaven forbid you do everything right and you still get it. So what was the point? You're going to feel like what was the point? But very thankfully, it has a 90 something plus, it has a 95 plus percent rate. And even if your mom's in some condition, as long as she ain't too far along and it's not a severe condition, she still has 95 plus percent chance of survival as far as like not getting serious issues with it.
All right,
So yeah, we gotta be
and yeah,
thankful for that. But they don't
I
want
just
to tell but they don't want to talk about that for some reason. It's weird. Why would you want to share good news about COVID?
well, hashtag scare tactic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Fear is the biggest tool in the political arsenal. So
yeah, yeah.
but no, and I just wanted to bring up, and I know you already know this, but I just want to let the viewers know that hey, I'm just sharing my situation, how I do things. I'm not better than you, and I'm certainly not smarter than you. So
I still wear my mask when I go to the store. I still wear my mask when I go to the store, and I'll do all that. And because I don't feel like dealing with mask Karens and mask Kens. I just want to go and get my food and leave. That's all I care about. I'm not going to sit here and get in an argument with you about the moralities of wearing a diaper on your face. Just it is what it is.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
wear it. I wear it just so I wear it so I can keep my peace. I don't. I wear it so I can keep my peace, man.
And sometimes in certain situations, you're happy you're wearing a mask. You got the
Yeah,
small things.
there be some people. There be some people that be hacking and coughing. I'm like, I'm so glad I got this on right now.
I just wanted to share that in regards to the bigger regular our national topic, but in regards to back to
Mm-hmm.
wrestling, like I said, we haven't talked in a while. In regards to Roman Reigns, was a champion who successfully defended tonight against Kevin Owens. Do you think it was best, smart, good to finally pull a trigger, period, to have Roman Reigns be a heel? They never did with John Cena, but they did here with Roman Reigns. What are your thoughts on Roman Reigns finally being turned heel, and how do you think he's doing so far in as a heel?
That's a good question because I'm thinking about how the Thugonomics John Cena was heel, but he was still kind of like a PG goofball. So like, yeah, the Thugonomic John Cena, which is the John Cena I actually did like, was a PG goofball that was, they was like, oh, he's kind of like yeah. So him being heel probably really wouldn't have worked just because there's just nothing about him. I mean, I think if John Cena's heel was similar to Roman Reigns' current heel, I think it would have worked. And here's why I say that. I never thought of Roman Reigns as some kind of white-eyed, bushy-tailed babyface. Never thought about it. I thought he should have been a tweener, anti-hero, uh, bad to the bone. Just he is his own man type lone wolf outside the shield character. He just his persona, the way he came off, the way he presented himself, it never looked like the suffering succotash Roman Reigns that we got. Never looked like that. Never came off as that. This Roman Reigns feels authentic. It feels like this is actually part of his personality. He feels like a big deal. Like I actually feel like he's a big deal. Not that he's being shoved down my throat, but that he is actually legitimately a big deal. Um, and they made everything that they did for his heel turn, solidifying how he believes he's how more important he is than everybody else. How what he does puts food on everyone else's table. And if he's not on top, he doesn't carry the burden of the company on his shoulders, then people around him won't be successful. And no one else understands that burden like he does. That's why Kevin Owens couldn't cut the mustard as Universal Champion, or that Drew McIntyre is the secondary champion. He's not the first level champion. It's the reason why the Fiend couldn't hold on to it because the Fiend doesn't care about anything. Why would he want to care about the shoulder? It's like all these things you can connect together as to why Roman's justified in his actions.
Mhm.
And they just set it up very beautifully. How he's pretty much, and I'm not saying this to give it any kind of glory, but he's pretty much the abuser, the main abuser in any kind of family dynamic relationship, whether it's father to child, husband or wife in his case because he's a guy. He is the abuser. He's the one that will hurt you and then blame you for why you're hurt, and tell you that this is your fault and things like that. So psychologically, this is the character that he's being. So when he gets his comeuppance, it's going to be very, very cool when he finally gets his comeuppance. A lot of people hope that's going to be The Rock. It makes sense because think about it. Roman Reigns is the head of the table for wrestling. But who's really the Samoan head of the table when it comes to financial gain for the family? Maybe the $1 billion actor that is the $1 billion plus grossing actor that is Rock the Dwayne Johnson, as some people like to call him.
Yeah, he owns the XFL now, so
Yeah, you got to forget. Not only had a film out, he had movie, his own production company. He's been doing stuff on HBO, obviously, and so between miniseries and movies and wrestling, ever since he blew up for real, The Rock has truly been the head of the table. So it makes the most sense that when the story really finishes and closes off itself, it's The Rock that finishes the job, or at least The Rock that tries to finish the job, but then Reigns comes out on top. If Oberg is his WrestleMania opponent, he better beat him. I mean, it better be. It's gonna be spamming finisher fest. It's gonna be 15 Superman punches, 4 spears. He's gonna kick out that one, and then he's gonna have to put him in a guillotine to make him choke him out. It's because it's Oldberg, so they're going to make him look unnecessarily strong. I really wish him and Matt Riddle would have a fight because Matt Riddle will really beat him up. It's going to be hilarious. It will be hilarious. But this Roman Reigns' character, Roman Reigns' character. I'm saying whatever. Whoever got an opinion, I don't care. This is just how I believe. This is an entertainment product. This is how I feel. Roman Reigns' character is only is only going to lose out to Kenny Omega's character if they drop the ball on the strength of Roman Reigns. And what do I mean by that? Okay, Kevin Owens' story that they just told at TLC was that he wouldn't go away. Even after he lost, he got back up. So you know they're gonna keep the story going. He got right back. He got back up. It took him a little bit, but he got back up, sat in the chair, sat in the stairs, a little distraught that he lost. But guess what? He didn't die. He said he was going to win the championship or die trying. Well, he's not dead, and so I guess they can do one more match to keep that feud going. Because technically it was a TLC match. He really didn't lose clean. It took Jay to help him out. And so what I want to see here is that I want to see Roman finish the job without needing help. Because the whole goal, if you're going to make Roman Reigns be this strong character, be this person who says, okay, I'm going to make him fear me, and he says he doesn't fear you, well, how can you put the fear in Kevin Owens? Because you're not going to do it if Jay keeps helping you. You got to do something that is going to set him so over the edge against what you have done that he ain't got no choice but to fear you. You know, so Roman, they may have to do the family angle. Where AJ, remember how Samoa Joe went after AJ's
Mhm.
family, it was like Wendy. So Samoa, the other Samoa Joe, Joe Hanoi, may have to pay a visit um, to the house that Kevin Owen built, and like literally like maybe they do a spot with one of his sons where his sons try to like take a swing at Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns shoves him. and and while that may be a little extreme for some, I'm like, no, all he's doing is shoving him. And then he says, hey, all this is mine now. I already bought it. Like just a simple spot where he kicks Kevin Owens' family out their house because he bought it, even though technically he didn't. It'd be
Right.
kayfabe. So he kicks them all out the house because he bought it. He's the head of the table, and so Kevin Owens one that kept on messing, kept on poking the bear. Now his family's homeless. Now what you gonna do? Do you want? They said, do you fear me now? And it's like, and then they had the wrestling match, or whether or not he can get his family back, and then his family's on the Thunderdome visual at the bottom. I know I'm fantasy booking, but I'm just saying it makes sense. And then he says, win or lose, if you don't acknowledge me as head of the table, your family will never get their house back. And so, or rather, do the same thing like we did with Jane with the I Quit match. You have to say, in order for you to qualify to I Quit, you have to say, I am the head of the table. I'm the head of the table. And you'll get your wife and kids will get their house back. And surely enough, Kevin Owens gets in there. He says, I quit. He says Roman's the head of the table. He gets his family house back. And you talk about fear that gives Roman Reigns that next level of this dude went and put a family's dude out homeless just so he could be acknowledged as the head of the table. This is next level insane. That would be, to me, outside of belt collector Kenny Omega, him and Roman Reigns' character and belt collector Kenny Omega is going to be great for this upcoming 2021. I just hope they don't drop the ball on Roman. They're doing so good with his story. They don't need to make him look weak. He don't need to be losing any matches. They need to continue to make him feel special. Your champion should always feel special. So yeah.
I think overall TLC was a good pay per view. I was talking about before you came on my Insta poll thing I have on my Twitter at the Ramble underscore WWE, where I do that for every pay per view, every show. And for this one, I would have voted for on my own poll. Probably say a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Overall. But moving forward to 2021, like what are some your thoughts of what should be goals for WWE, or things that, or maybe goals you want to see, or things you want to see for the betterment of World Wrestling Entertainment in 2021, and also kind of to put you on the spot, who would you have win the men's and women's Royal Rumble match?
Mm, well, I know who I would like to win, but they probably gonna put it on Charlotte. Um, they just probably just will because it's Charlotte. Even though Charlotte doesn't need the Royal Rumble, Charlotte does not need the Royal Rumble in order to be a main eventer. We already established her as one of the top women in the history of
Oh,
the
right.
WWE. So, but she robbed that from Shayna Baszler because Vince doesn't like Shayna. Gosh, man, it's so dumb. Shayna should have ran through anyway. So What I would like to see is they are AEW from an AEW standpoint. I know you didn't ask, so I'm just saying the wrestling I'm watching. The wrestling I'm watching consistently right now is AEW, WWE. Obviously, I'm watching those two. I don't watch New Japan or anything like that. I want AEW to continue to bring me to promotions that I never watched before. It's been a long time since I watched Impact Wrestling. I watched Impact Wrestling purposely because of what AEW story was doing. I was watching NWA before they had to shut down because I thought NWA, which is a good alternative, it's really cool. But with them bringing NWA, I can start watching NWA again to try to catch up on their story. I'm really going to be diving into a whole lot of different wrestling companies, and I know I shouldn't watch. I watch wrestling and football. This is pretty much the only sports I watch now: wrestling, football, and occasionally basketball. Uh, I don't want. I want Roman to continue his tear. I want him to have a nice challenger at he's probably gonna have Goldberg, but they're not gonna give him anybody from the Royal Rumble. There's no one gonna be for the Royal Rumble that's gonna challenge him. Someone's gonna challenge Drew because they're gonna believe that Drew's gonna be the easier target against Roman Reigns. But I would like a hero to rise up to challenge Roman and to temporarily dethrone him, but that's not gonna happen for this WrestleMania. So I would say, well, here's what I would like to happen. I would like Bobby Lashley to relinquish his WWE US United States Championship, not lose it because he's really really strong. They've been booked him real strong. I want him to relinquish it, and so then they can do a U.S. Championship tournament. The reason why I want this United States Championship tournament is because I want MVP to win the United States Championship because he was one of the longest reigning U.S. United States Championship champions of all time for WWE. Here's why: Hurt Business Tag Team Champions. MVP is the United States champion. We need to finish this off with Bobby Lashley becoming the WWE champion against Drew McIntyre. They made a very, 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 very big mistake when I can understand why he lost because that for his first major feud. But now Bobby Lashley has been booked solid. He's been booked strong. He's been on a tear. He's ready to go and be the top guy for at least Raw. For it can just be it can just be for 6 months. It don't have to be. It can be from WrestleMania all the way until past SummerSlam, all the way until Survivor Series. Why Survivor Series? Because you have the Hurt Business who have the Tag Team Championships, the United States Championship, and the WWE Championship. And guess what? In a Survivor Series style match, you can have a group of people going for the tag team championships, a group person going for the United States Championship, and of course Drew McIntyre going back for the WWE Championship. If Drew McIntyre team wins, all of them get championship matches that very next night on Raw. And then it'll be Championship Raw because you know they're going to make sure they win. It'll be Championship Raw, and all the titles change hands from the Hurt Business, and the Hurt Business collapse. It's a fantastic long term story. You cover the rest of your year that way. But Bobby Lashley win the Royal Rumble, and after he wins the Royal Rumble, goes after Drew for the second time and wins. Drew doesn't lose anything from losing to a guy who looks like and wrestles like Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is basically Black Brock Lesnar. In fact, he has a better MMA record than Brock Lesnar. I mean, the dude is excellent. He's more of a specimen than Brock Lesnar. So that's what I would like to see for the men's side. For the women's side of things, what I would like to see is, well, I would like to see Becky come back, but her career is more important. She's bigger than WWE. She's gotten to the point now where, like Charlotte Flair, can be okay without the WWE, but she's too synonymous with WWE.
Right.
Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch have done things to make themselves cross over. And so their crossover appeal, I believe, especially with Sasha Banks and Mandalorian, their crossover appeal, I believe, is put them in a better position to be able to lead WWE and come back for cameo pops. Same thing with the Bella Twins. The Bella Twins, the Bella Twins now, yeah, they're associated with WWE, but now they're just reality TV shows. They're just
Yeah, they're just
they
focused
are
on that.
total
Yeah.
Bellas. They're total Bellas, and that's what people know them as now. They have separated themselves from the WWE, especially Nikki, because her main connection was John Cena. And no one cares too much about Brie mode because how low key Daniel Bryan is and how just awesome of a guy he is. So they're not going to treat her with the same kind of like, oh, you're a celebrity, this thing like they'll do with Nikki,
Right.
how she was with John. But the woman is very very hard. What I would like to see is Charlotte win the Raw or the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Rhea Ripley get her win back.
Mm.
I would like to see Rhea Ripley and or Shayna Baszler but it won't be Shayna. Not the way they booked her. I want to see Rhea. I want to see Rhea Ripley win the Women's Royal Rumble and pick Charlotte because Charlotte's going to have one of those titles by the time WrestleMania comes around. I want her to pick Charlotte. And unlike last time, I want her to have. I remember how last time Rhea Ripley had that white ring gear on, and
Hmm.
it was like white Knight's tile, and she was going against the Queen, and it's like that. She lost. No, no, no. I want Rhea Ripley to be full on Nightmare, and this is the time where if Charlotte does the job for anybody to really make the shine on them, this is where she. This is where no matter what Charlotte does, Charlotte gets destroyed. I'm talking like a 10-15 minute barn burner where Charlotte gets very little offense in, and Rhea, and then she tries to set her up for the figure eight, and Rhea powers out the figure eight, full on nightmare mode, and takes that championship and holds on to it for at least almost barely ish. Give her a 200 day some plus reign. And the reason why I think that would be good is because one, Rhea Ripley establishes that she was and still is one of the best women wrestlers on the roster. Charlotte does the job. That's nothing for her. It doesn't hurt her in any way because Charlotte is arguably the greatest woman wrestler of all time for WWE. If For the WWE, so her status and her legacy is solidified. It doesn't hurt her at all, and we can put the shine now back on Rhea, and Rhea can now be that dominant force she can until she gets knocked out by someone like Shayna or whatever have you. So that way, so men and women wise, I would very much love that. That would be my stuff. Since you put me on the spot like that, it just that's how I would like to see 2021 go, and that's all the way until Survivor Series. I don't know what's gonna happen after Survivor Series.
All right. I guess for me, just specifically for the Rumble, to put myself in the spot where I was kind of thinking while you were talking, and for me, like how I would love it to be, which probably wouldn't be, but what I want for my prediction would be for the men. I think it would be great and best, and actually, regards to storytelling and just a booking, I think would be great. Would be having Keith Lee win the Royal Rumble,
Oh yeah, yeah, him too.
and for the women, you have Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
So I think Keith Lee and Bianca Belair, rising stars in WWE, slowly getting to being maybe like caliber status. And hopefully that to be the case for both of them in the men and women's division. I
Mhm.
think those two would be for me my front runners right now for men and women's Royal Rumble. In regards to like just like personally who I would want and who I think would be the greatest Royal Rumble winners and getting title matches at WrestleMania, of course, and all that. So that comes with it. So I think that's how I would do it and how I would book it. I think I'd have those two being the Rumble winners.
Mhm.
In regards to overall for 2021, keep the competition alive. AEW versus WWE, and
Exactly.
both companies doing fine and whatnot, and AEW continue to thrive and all the good they have done and I'm sure continue to do. And WWE, just because of the ratings, does not mean AEW is putting them out of business anytime soon.
Oh gosh, no. No, 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 no.
So,
That's not even remotely going to happen. I like the fact that close it. I like the fact that WWE even just has something to kind of be measured against, because technically you can't really measure. I mean, this is no offense to Impact, but once Impact left a real network and they've been on Axis,
mhm.
what's there to really measure? How am I going to measure? Um, how am I going to measure what Impact does against WWE? They can have the best stories ever and things like that, but you don't have any reach. So when they made AEW, the smartest thing they realized was that they have to have reach. ROH is on Fox affiliate networks, but they're on regular network TV at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday. No one watching wrestling at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday. This ain't Sunday Night Heat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to play in order for you to be legit competition, you have to play it smart. When they realized that they were going on a real network, TNT, at a real time slot on a real time slot on the day, WWE purposely counter programmed it because they were hoping to take away viewers and hoping to maybe beat them. And they've beaten them very few times. They haven't even went past 5 times of beating them in the ratings and in the ratings war overall.
Mhm.
And that's because of what AEW has been bringing to the table. So I've been very thankful for this wrestling because now I got a measuring stick against what WWE does. But then I realized NXT and AEW are kind of like their own thing. I understand that NXT is underneath the WWE umbrella, but you can tell who's in charge of the creative direction of those brands depending on who's in charge. So NXT plays differently than AEW, which plays
Right.
differently than Raw, which plays different than SmackDown. They like all four of these companies, all four of these brands play differently, and they cater to a different kind of audience, and you can tell by the way they book certain stories. So, you know, I've been a fan of it, and I sincerely hope that if Impact gets to a real network, oh, it's gonna be beautiful. And then if New Japan Pro Wrestling with all the awesome matches I keep on hearing about it, I really wish they up their production value. Like I understand why they probably keep their production value like that, but like you see the kind of camera I got here. I'm used to watching wrestling and definition that looks at least like this. So when I see New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm like, it's 2020 and your camera definition hasn't gone up yet. Like, why does it look like you still rocking 1980 style cameras? I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to
Right.
do. But I feel like if you're in an age and an era where you have the technology to do so, they put on a superior production product. You already have the superior wrestling company by the stretch of pure wrestling purists and who know wrestling, like people who know way more wrestling than me. They know that they say that New Japan Pro Wrestling is the epitome of what wrestling should be. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and match the technology to that and convince me otherwise. But I'm not going to watch it because they be on Access TV too. Sometimes they be replaying on Access TV.
Right.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm sorry. I'm just not. AEW and WWE is all I want to do. And Impact now because of the story. So.
Yeah, yeah, the involvement with Impact now
Mhm.
with Kenny Omega and everything. But
That's gonna be great. Oh,
oh,
sorry about that.
I don't doubt that. Sure, it's already been great so far. Just
Hmm.
begun, So, but overall, like I said, TLC pretty good, solid pay per view. I'll give it a B minus overall grade, grading it there on the grading scale. Um, and I guess the last final thing, just to ask, period, point blank. Kind of forgot, but you said you watching NFL stuff, which is awesome. Having an interesting season. It's COVID. As we were talking about earlier. With no fans in the stands. That was kind of weird for me. I don't know about you. In the beginning of the NFL season, with empty stadiums playing football games.
On the stadiums with the cardboard cutouts. Just get the cardboard cutouts. Oh man, they kill me with that. I mean, it wasn't weird, man. They wanted to make sure. Excuse me.
I mean,
I
it
didn't
was.
mean I didn't mean to break into a yawn. I apologize. That was rude. I did not mean to break into a yawn. I was about to like, and it just hit me. I apologize.
It's okay.
Um, but I mean, it like I said, right? Depending on what state you're in, depending on what kind of legislature you have, and all that stuff, different people handle it, and different government bodies handle it in different ways. I am thankful that football was able to see the best thing about this issue with the COVID when it came to the NFL was that the NFL season already played through. They already had their Super Bowl,
Well, I think
so
good. They
they
think
had
take the Lord above for that.
they had the longest period of time to make all the preparation necessary for before they restarted their season.
That's what I thought
Basketball
they were
and
going to be able
baseball
to
had
get
to do it
away
on the
from.
fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the basketball, baseball, and the hockey league, they had to do it on the fly. They had to build the plane while they were flying it. So
And
you
March
know,
Madness just hit it right on because that's when it started, and they had to cancel it.
yeah, that was
That sucked,
crazy.
but it was what it was.
It was what it was. So they probably be able to do it now better now. And they have to go to a bubble scenario. Same thing with the NBA did. They have to be in a bubble, and these college young men are going to have to be very disciplined, very very disciplined. And then we saw with the how when it came to the college football, the SEC handled the COVID situation better than anybody else because they understood the nature of college kids being stupid. So they said, okay, what we're going to do is we know that college for most of America starts in August. So what we're going to do is we're not going to have we're going to keep our football teams away from the main campus and we're going to wait until late September to start. And the reason why we're going to wait is because college kids are stupid and they're going to do things like COVID parties. and they're going to do all kinds of weird things and get themselves infected somehow, and the numbers are going to spike up. And when the numbers spike up, that's when we will have all these things, and then the numbers going to simmer on down. And the SEC got it right. The numbers spiked up, and then right before the SEC started their football season, the numbers went. They as far as the amount of positive cases, it went. It had a nice little downtick, and then just mellowed itself out. So now it was like, okay, we can play our game. That's why they were able to get, pretty much their whole entire season done with very little postponements, if not cancellations. Versus the
Then
other Power Five conferences
in the
was like,
Big Ten,
what
yeah,
did
the
we
Big Ten.
do? I don't know anything. Now Ohio State's going to be able to get into the daggone college football playoff with six games. Like, come on, man, get out of here with that nonsense.
The
We ain't
Big
played
Ten,
on.
here in Wisconsin and everything, following the Big Ten.
Oh
That
yeah,
was that
sorry
was an
about that.
that was an
That's not.
interesting song and dance.
Yeah, I didn't. The Northwestern put a beat down on y'all, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they because it was a. But I mean, but hey, you got Green Bay, but you got your Packers. Go Pack, go.
yeah. I want to get another hat. It's time to win another championship.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Let's get another one of these.
It's not gonna happen. Your offense doesn't know how to make adjustments after the second half. So
Well, we just don't know how to play good teams. Period.
your head coach gets like they be smoking in the first half, and then like the second half comes and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to be an NFL head football coach. Uh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm back in San Dimas. Like what? Anyway, I don't know why I just broke into Bill and Ted. I watched that Bill and Ted Face the Music movie last night. But anyway, not to ramble. But yeah, my Colts are doing surprisingly well. We're not going to win the division, but we're going to be able to have a wild card spot because we keep on winning
That's
the
right.
way
You're the
the Tennessee
Indianapolis
Titans keep
Colts,
winning.
which, by the way, we faced your team and you guys actually beat us.
Yeah. That's what happens when you got a good defense. When you have a good defense that can stop what you do well. So I didn't. Look, dude, I'm perfectly happy. I wasn't gonna talk no trash this year. You wanna know why? Because Philip Rivers is my quarterback. So I was not gonna
Actually,
talk any trash because I didn't know what kind of Philip Rivers I was gonna get. Was I gonna get the interception prone Philip Rivers from last year when he was a Charger, or was I getting something else? Surprisingly, my head coach Frank Wright has made a lot of quarterbacks look really good. I'm very thankful that I have him as a head coach. Jim Irsay better not fire that man. We should if we have 3 or 4 losing seasons, that's fine. But you can't fire that man because you give him an actual NFL quarterback that is actually good and decent. We can win a lot of games. A
and your
lot of
team's still in
games.
the fight for that division. So
We ain't gonna win, man. Tennessee's gonna we're gonna have one of those games where we play real dumb, and Tennessee's gonna win their next two. So we'll be one game behind, but we'll be in you can't even be in the playoff in the AFC unless you have 11 wins. That's what it's gonna
yeah.
look like. You
Honestly,
gotta have 11
I don't
wins.
know about that about Tennessee. They gotta come to Lambeau. So
Oh no, they're gonna beat y'all. They're gonna beat y'all. And here's why I say that.
okay, we'll see.
Here's why I say that. Here's why I say that though. The only reason why I say that is because what Green Bay Packer on that defense, wants to stop that 250-pound freight train in the third and fourth quarter when it's been really, really cold, and they got to keep on banging their bodies against that daggone ice mountain. Who's gonna want to do it?
Then again, are they even going to have the ability if Aaron Rodgers is smoking them
Oh
and they're
yeah,
down by?
Aaron Rodgers is the first half quarterback. I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers this season and last season, but it's something about his ability to finish games that disappears. Like Aaron Rodgers don't know how to finish games anymore. I don't know why. It just seems weird to me
Yeah,
that
yesterday we had our Saturday game. We were up 20. We were up big, and then Carolina crawled back because their offense is inept.
so now the offense is not just inept; it is devoid of any semblance of what it can actually devoid of any semblance of a professional style offense. The only dude that can make anything go in there is Teddy Bridgewater, and that doesn't make any sense because Teddy Bridgewater's a pretty no offense to Teddy. Teddy's a good quarterback, but the dude's like Black Kirk Cousins, like him and Kirk Cousins, the same guy in my opinion. Like,
All right.
I mean, you can win with them, but can you go to a Super Bowl with them? You could probably win a playoff game with them, but he needs a whole lot of stuff around him to make him look good, like a defense, a running back that can actually handle his business, a good offensive weapon. Like he has to have a lot of things in order to make him very good. So I mean, but we went from TLC to wrestling. We are in the ramble. This is the ramble. Yeah, this is the ramble.
Final question: What was your preseason Super Bowl prediction, and what's your prediction now heading into the soon-to-be playoffs? Who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl?
Oh, I thought it was going to be when it came to the AFC. I thought Kansas City was going to come out of the AFC again. One, because that was an easy pick for me to make because it's Kansas City. But two, I looked at the landscape of the AFC and I was like, who's really going to beat them? Like, who really can beat them? Like, when you have a guy who threw interceptions and picks, turnovers, he was down by 20 points, 10 points, 14 points, 15 some points, double digit leads disappeared within a span of 5, 6, and 7 minutes. And then his team came back and destroyed y'all. Like that, it's really hard to beat someone like that that can make, excuse me, 3 and 4 turnovers in the game and still beat you. Like that's not a good thing to go through. Because most of the time when a team commits 3 and 4 turnovers, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Not Kansas City. Proof of that was that Miami game as well as when they did in the Super Bowl. So Kansas City, I believe, was going to come out the AFC. When it came to the NFC, I was very, very, I was very, I was trying to give credit to maybe. I honestly thought that maybe that your boys Green Bay was going to come out the NFC. It was going to be between them and San Francisco because I didn't think the Rams was going to do anything or whatever, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And then because the Seahawks do their thing and all that stuff, but really, I am still leaning towards not the Saints. It's right there. It was right there on the tip of my tongue, and I just forgot it.
Tampa?
Uh, it wasn't the Packers. It wasn't the Saints.
Was
It
it
wasn't.
Tampa Bay?
No, because I hate Tom Brady. So I was hoping that they actually were going to take a L, but they're going to
No.
make the playoffs. I figured they'd make the playoffs at least, but they weren't going to the Super Bowl because Tom Brady. There's a certain style of Tom Brady that plays, and this aired out style ain't his style. This is the style that he has success with. He can do it, but it ain't the style he has success with. I thought based on their defense, it was going to be Seattle. That's what it was. I thought it was going to be
Hmm.
Seattle based on what I thought was going to be a good defense. But obviously, the real defensive stalwarts until they ran into a buzzsaw that was Kansas City. And there was another one that they ran into that they got thumped. I mean, they totally embarrassed. They totally embarrassed Tampa Bay. So if Tampa Bay plays them a third time, Tampa Bay's still not going to win because they just can't stop that defense. They can't really prepare up against that defense. Um, but yeah, so that's where I was with that. It was going to be Kansas City and Seattle. Kansas City and Seattle. But Russell Wilson looks like trash right now. So with the way the NFC is currently constituted, it's going to be a toss up between the Saints, Green Bay, and Seattle, and all of them have a deficiency somewhere. So Green Bay can't play a full 60-minute game. Green Bay can't play a full 60-minute game for some reason. They don't make good adjustments at halftime. Seattle's defense is one of the most questionable defenses in the league, and they can't stop nobody. They getting better, but they really can't stop nobody. So puts Russell Wilson in a bad position. And then New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints, their main weakness is whether or not they have Michael Thomas. Because when they have Michael Thomas, they don't play the same when they don't have him. So yeah, so those would be the three that I would venture to run with right now when it comes to the NFC. Trust me, the NFC East ain't gonna have nobody that's gonna make a run to this. That division is gonna be one with 6 games. The way things been going, man, it's gonna be a 6 game division winner. People will be like, we should change this. This is not fair. How come Tampa Bay has to go play the Washington football team? The Washington football team only won 6 wins. They won the division, but that's not fair. It is fair. They won the division. If you don't want to be in a position where you play a team that has a lot of losses against you, then win your division. You could host a playoff game. Plus, you should be happy that you're playing the Washington football team or the Dallas Cowgirls or daggone the Philadelphia crappy Eagles, or the New York busted Giants. if you get them to the first round because they're not that good.
It's just funny to see how that division's going and how that's going to end up. But
That's a
I, de-
train wreck, bro.
I definitely, well, it's a train wreck I enjoy watching. So, um, I hopefully will have you on maybe during the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl show. Um, talk football on my Talking Packers with Steve podcast. But
Talking
good
Packers.
having you here for wrestling. And talking TLC as well. Like I said, I thought it was all right. But before we go, of course, let you plug your stuff, promote, put yourself over,
Oh
and
yeah.
share where people find you and all your doings.
Okay, well, I ain't doing much here and there. You can find me in several different places. I am not as active on Twitter as I would like to be, mainly because social media has been very interesting as of late. So I kind of been kind of not keeping myself low key. But hey, you want to find me on social media? You see it right there. That's my namesake right there, Super Black Gamer Bros. It's spelled a little differently on Twitter, but it's spelled exactly like this on Twitch. I'm streaming all kinds of games right now. I'm in the middle of Legend of Zelda Rogue One. If you don't know what that is, then you don't get the joke. But that's the game I'm playing right now, the Legend of Zelda Rogue One. I think you'll get it if you really think about it for a second. My Super Bible Gamer Brothers on Instagram, and I'm also part of a podcast called In the Middle Podcast with Ron and Micah. You can find that ITM PC In the Middle Podcast One PC One in the middle PC one on Twitter, in the middle PC on Instagram, and our Facebook page, obviously as well. We talk about all kinds of things from politics to it's mostly been politics, race relations, and things like that. I come
Mhm.
from a different side of things than my partner does, but we find that balance because there's a lot more that we agree upon than we disagree upon. It's one of those things where, you know, Steve, where you have the same kind of goal in mind, but you have a different way of getting there. That's all. So that's pretty
Right,
much where the main difference. The differences isn't the goal. The difference is usually in how do we get to the goal. So
and
especially when it
that's
comes
where
in
the
terms of racial injustice
question
and
is.
things like that. So that's all my stuff. That's what I've been doing. I've been playing the Zelda game because I got the Zelda hat, obviously. And then I want to make sure that you trust your instincts, as you can see from my poster in my little background, my little backdrop. Trust your instincts, especially their ultra instinct. Trust your instincts, especially the ultra instinct. And thank you for having me. I know we haven't done this in a while, and I said, well, we need to hook up every once in a while, man. I mean, I gotta make sure I make some time for people that's especially good people that's been good to me over the years. So yeah.
I do greatly appreciate it. I think those that watch live, those will be watching archive, and of course, you can find me literally everything. You can find me on TikTok, CBK_06, Instagram at either CBK_06 or Packermania_06. There for those Instagrams, you can find me on Twitter at Army_strong_06 or the Ramble_06 there. Snapchat and Facebook as well. But all in all, TLC was all right. Looking forward to how things are moving forward. I look forward to being part of the Thunderdome all next week and all that moving forward, heading into 2021. And hope everybody's having happy holidays, staying safe, but being able to see your families however you're able to. And above all else, as always, take care.
Mhm.